2 buttons to the right of where we're at now. It's called a horizontal ruler. Sorry. That's just like a line that goes straight across the page. People use it as like dividers between subjects or dividers between paragraphs sometimes, just so you can insert a horizontal line.
Okay.
Right, and it'll go as wide as it is allowed. So if you were to click it now, it'll go as wide as that table cell that you're in.
Oh.
Right, and if you hit backspace on the keyboard, it'll just get rid of it. Right.
Okay.
Now the next one is toggle guidelines or invisible elements. Go ahead and click that. Now you notice our table disappears. You can't see the borders, so that turns off all your dotted lines.
That's kind of like, okay, this is what's going to look like on your page minus.
Yep. It gives you a good idea of what it'll look like.
Yeah.
That
stuff. Okay.
Yep. So you click that and you can see it all again. You can play around with it.
Okay.
Now that one is insert a new layer. If you're familiar with Photoshop and layers in Photoshop, you can actually create layers and start layering things on top of each other. But I'll be honest, it gets really messy.
Yeah.
So this one inserts a new layer. The next two push it back or pull it forward in front of layers. And it doesn't always work. It's not supported by all browsers. And so it can get really hairy.
Is that like
really
if
quick.
you just had a bunch of text and you wanted to put like a logo like on top of it or something?
Yeah, if you want to put your text on top of your logo, I'd probably take the logo and make a new layer out of it and push it behind the text.
Right.
So you could do that if you
wanted.
wanted.
Kind of like what it, why you use it. Okay.
Yep.
I don't.
Or you could put an image in the background of your table cell, right, and put text in that table cell.
Okay.
And that
makes it hard
typically
to read
works
stuff,
better.
Though, huh?
It can be.
Yeah. Okay.
Now if we go 3 to the right, this is toggle absolute positioning. This helps with rearranging things, but it can get really messy. This is really messy. So click on the picture of me and my wife and click on toggle absolute positioning. Now what that does is it just means it's like on a layer of its own. And wherever you place it on this page in reference to the top left corner of the page editor is where it'll put it on your page in reference to the top left corner of your web page. So if you notice, if we were to save right now, that would show up, 25 pixels from the top of the page and 25 from the left.
Okay.
And that would be right over the top of where it says closet organizers and your comment.
Yeah.
So if you're going to use this, you got to make sure you drag it way far down from where you want it to be. So go ahead and hit save now and we'll see where it shows up. It might, I can't remember if it goes off the top left corner of like where your logo goes, or if it's the top left corner of where the page loads. So let's scroll up and we'll see where it showed up. Scroll down. Oh, how about that? So I don't think it took. Let's go back to our create and edit pages. Oh yeah, see, it undid it.
Oh.
So let's click on it. See, that's the problem with toggle absolute positioning. Let's do it again. Now let's just drag it like over here somewhere, over to the right. See, and you can just drag and drop.
That's cool.
It's makes it really easy, but you have to remember it's
a
huge space margin there, and some browsers won't support it as well as others. So go ahead and hit save. And now let's go back to our closet organizers page. Well, let's see how it comes up in the page editor. Ah, it didn't take again. I'm gonna have to look into that.
Okay.
I don't know why it's not doing it. It's worked before. Maybe I might have disabled the function because it doesn't work very well. Okay, now our next one is visual control characters. You ever been in like Word and you accidentally turn this feature on? You can see paragraph breaks and line breaks and spaces show up as little dots. That's what that does.
Okay.
The next one is insert non-breaking space character. On the internet, let's say you're laying something out and you want something 10 spaces, like you want 10 spaces between garage and organizers. If you type in the space bar 10 times, every web browser recognizes that as one space and one space only. So this non-breaking space character is a way to force it to accept those. So what that does is it puts in a space. It'll look just like a space to you, but it writes special code telling the browser don't ignore this space. So if you were to lay things out, like wanted to gap things, you'd use that button right there.
Okay.
The next one is insert page break. I'm really struggling with why anybody even bothered to create this. I don't know why you'd create a page break on a web page.
Right.
But maybe that actually, now that I think about it, now I say it out loud, it could be for printing purposes. So it forces a new page right below that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted a page that's easily printable, that would be how you do it. The next one is citation. If I remember correctly, this does the same thing as block quote. I just left both in there because there were certain circumstances where some work better than others.
Okay.
Next one is ABBR, which is abbreviation. So you see our pop-up box that says abbreviation. What happens is you could highlight something that is an abbreviation, click that button, and it lets you put that pop-up box. You could type in what it is.
Oh.
So if you had an abbreviation, GAR period, you could highlight that, press the abbreviation button, and type in garage.
And then
So when they go over GAR, the pop-up box comes up and says garage.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
And then there's an acronym button, and I can't remember what the difference is between the two, but they essentially do the same thing.
Okay.
Then the next one is, what's that called? Deletion. Puts a red line through things. So if you were to do like some kind of markup, right?
Right.
Say maybe somebody else made a page and you wanted them to see what you thought was crappy. You could do something like that. Insertion, changes you made. And the last two buttons are insert date and insert time.
Okay.
So if you had two people working on the same page and you wanted to timestamp things, that would insert the current time right now onto the page. It doesn't update, right? It doesn't say, you know, the time currently is this.
Right.
It's just like a timestamp that you could put at the very bottom of your page where it's inconspicuous, so you know the last time you edited that page.